You'd think making millions of dollars and being in a blockbuster movie would leave you in a good enough mood to work with, well, pretty much anyone. But apparently that wasn't the case for some A-listers. Believe it or not, there have been plenty of celebrity co-stars who refuse to even act in the same scene, and we're breaking them all down as voted on by you, the viewer. The Fast and the Furious is one of the biggest film franchises of all time. That's due in large part to Vin Diesel, the star of many of the installments. After his initial departure from the franchise, he made a deal to be the producer on all post-Tokyo Drift sequels in order to return. Needless to say, he shepherded the franchise to practically unthinkable heights. Just like their characters in The Fate of the Furious, Vin Diesel and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did not become fast friends in real life either. Apparently, Dwayne found Vin to have a bad attitude and horrible work ethic. Plus, he didn't like some of the decisions Vin made as a producer for the film. So, as a result, they refused to appear together on screen. Charlie's Angels was an extremely popular spy TV show in the 1970s. By the time the late 90s had rolled around, it was time for a movie version. Enter director Mick G, Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu. The film really cemented all of its leads as A-list actors, but that doesn't mean there wasn't loads of drama behind the scenes. Could you imagine being in the middle of a scene when suddenly your co-star screams to stop the camera so he can yell, and I quote, "You can't act!" at you? Sounds like a nightmare. But instead of being a bad dream, it was what Bill Murray really did to Lucy Liu. Lucy got so mad she even threw punches at the famed comedian. After that, Bill didn't appear in the film sequel. Channing Tatum was a stripper in real life for 8 months when he was 18. He was living in Tampa, Florida at the time and dreaming of becoming an actor. We all know how this story ended. After becoming friends with Steven Soderbergh, the acclaimed director became so obsessed with Tatum's stories from this time period that he became determined to produce a film about the subject. Before filming for Magic Mike, Channing Tatum had been told that newcomer Alex Pettyfer was impossible to work with. So, already off on the wrong foot, Alex tried hard not to stir the pot and kept to himself on set. But instead of preventing any drama, this only made Channing like him even less. Thanks to these misperceptions, Alex wasn't asked back to give us more jaw-dropping lap dances in the second film. Lyle Kessler's brilliant play Orphans is about two brothers living in a run-down row house in Philadelphia. The play examines the nature of family and paternity in a harsh and unflinching light. It has been staged many times since it was written in 1983. The most recent version of it starred Alec Baldwin and Ben Foster. However, it didn't always. It was initially meant to co-star Shia LaBeouf. After attacking Alec Baldwin during rehearsal and bringing a bad attitude with him to set, Shia LaBeouf went and got himself fired for the much-anticipated revival production of Orphans. According to Baldwin, he offered to leave the show, but instead, producers chose to let go of Shia. Clearly not what anyone was expecting. Terrence Howard was supposedly a nightmare to work with on Iron Man. He was abrasive, questioned every decision, and just generally made things more complex than they needed to be. Marvel didn't enjoy the process of working with him, so he wasn't asked back for the next film. Because of that, Howard has some major beef with Robert Downey Jr. Howard claims that he took a $1 million pay cut to convince the studio that Downey was worth the risk. Howard says he tried to get Downey to go to bat for him when Iron Man 2 was greenlit, but that Downey never returned any of his calls. Howard claims that the lack of participation has lost him over $100 million. Is that factually accurate? Probably not, but the Marvel movies make a lot of money, so it's understandable that he's bitter. Do you remember the movie The Lords of Flatbush? It's that movie about greasers in Brooklyn. You've probably never seen it, but you've probably seen the movie poster floating around and been like, man, Stallone is so young in this. Purportedly, Stallone hated his co-star Richard Gere so much that he got him replaced by Perry King for the role of Chico. Rumor has it the two physically fought, and out of their drama stemmed an urban legend about Gere having to go to the hospital after stuffing a gerbil up his behind. Yes, you heard that right. Hot off the drama from his 2.5 Men debacle, Charlie Sheen signed a deal to produce 10 episodes of a TV show adaptation of the film Anger Management. If the 10 proved popular enough, it would trigger an automatic syndication deal where FX would order 90 more episodes. Surprising everyone, this is exactly what happened. However, Charlie Sheen is someone who isn't easy to get along with, which is exactly what Selma Blair found out when she took the role of the show's love interest. After Blair spoke up against Sheen's poor work habits, lack of work ethic, and desire to phone everything in, Sheen threatened to quit the show if she was kept on. Ultimately, she was let go, if only the show had been half as interesting as the behind-the-scenes drama. I Love Trouble is a film written and produced by the husband and wife team of Charles Shire and Nancy Meyers. It follows two competing Chicago reporters as they attempt to discover the story behind a high-profile train derailment. It stars Julia Roberts and Nick Nolte. It's hard to picture anyone not liking the beautiful Roberts, but then Nolte's always been up for a challenge. While the two were shooting the film in 1994, Roberts called Nolte disgusting, and Nolte asserts Roberts was not a nice person. All the fighting led to the two filming their scenes separately and then using stand-ins to create the on-screen chemistry. Talk about dramatic measures. The Good Wife is one of those shows you can't stop watching once you start. It follows a district attorney who returns to work after her husband has been embroiled within a sex scandal. It stars Juliana Margulies as Alicia Florrick, the titular good wife. The show also features famed actress Archie Punjabi as Florrick's best friend, Kalinda Sharma. While both Margulies and Punjabi refuse to comment on any bad blood the stars had with each other during the filming of the show, all signs point to there being some sort of issue that went down. At first, their characters were close friends on the show, but by season 4, they stopped appearing on-screen together for the remainder of the series' 7 seasons. When asked about the supposed feud, Punjabi said, "I'm so thrilled to be on another show. In terms of anything that happened on The Good Wife, I think it's only respectful for it to stay on The Good Wife. It was time for me, for many reasons, to unzip the boots and step into another show." There's more drama where that came from. Check back next time to find out what else is rank-worthy.